Hi, I'm Haesley Cush from Livinghere, and I'm here with the State Manager of Detector Inspector Dan, the fastest growing compliance company in the country. Dan's here today. You would have heard lots of changes that are coming with regard to compliance relating to smoke alarms in 2022, is it?
That's it, mate, Jan 1.
And January 1. And so what we wanted to do is get Dan on today to talk about what you need to know, not only in terms of the compliance, but for budgeting and to, not fall into the traps that can sometimes come when this new legislation comes in. So thanks for joining us.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me.
Probably straight off the bat, can you just give us an overview of what the changes are?
Yeah, so the changes, they come into effect in January 1st, 2022 for properties leased and sold. They are already in effect for properties that are newly built or undergo substantial renovation. And through 2027, we have all dwellings that require this upgrade. So it's in a 3-staged rollout by the Queensland Fire and Emergency Service, and obviously in the real estate world, leased and sold is what affects us most.
Okay, I might just give it. So what we're saying is, if you build a property today, then you'd need to do this brand new. Okay. And then on the 1st of January 2022, they call it like bottleneck legislation. They're saying, well, at the point of a lease or at the point of a sale, there'll be a requirement on a landlord or a vendor to make sure their property is compliant, or the buyer, whoever it might be at that point. But it's got to be compliant at that part of the transaction. But then all of us, everybody in our own homes or anyone, needs it done by 2027. And today we're talking largely about that 1 January 2022.
That's exactly it.
So what have we got to do?
Mate, basically we're going to be photing alarms inside all of the bedrooms, making sure that connecting hallways have alarms also. There's alarms on each story. These alarms need to be of photoelectric type. They must not contain ionisation sensor. I won't delve too deep in there, but it's just the way that they operate.
So it's called photoelectric? That's correct. Is it a photoelectric sensor?
That's it.
And it means that they're all interconnected?
No, the photoelectric's actually the way that it sort of triggers the alarm once detecting the smoke. So it's just, again, not to touch in too much detail, but the way that it picks up the smoke through the sensor as opposed to through a reaction in particles in the air, like the ionisation alarms do. With the photoelectric, it's just they respond far better and much more rapidly to smouldering fires, which are the vast majority of house fires in Australia. The interconnection component comes in so that when one alarm goes off, the rest of the dwelling goes off as well, that being upstairs, downstairs and any other part of the house. So
at the moment, if I duck down to Coles or Woolies, I can buy myself a smoke alarm and bang it up.
Bunnings, you'd have a better chance, but...
So this is not what we're talking about here. This is a more sophisticated version?
Yeah, look, it definitely can be done. By no means does it need to be done by somebody like us or any other national or big brand company, if you will. Obviously, we're professionals in just this space, which is why we get it right the first time.
Yep.
Biggest problem we've got with those that do go to Bunnings and whack them up themselves is that we're often moving them thereafter or having to do something here, there or some way, shape or form. In turn, it just costs the landlord more money.
Okay. I mean, our office, I'm not sure if you're aware, but on December 21 last year, our office in Brunswick Street was fire affected. So one of 4 businesses that was fire affected in New Farm last year. So we had 2 of our properties that we managed last year were affected by fire. So it's a reality that we have to deal with. So what does a landlord have to do?
Landlords basically have to make sure that the property is fitted and maintained with the right smoke alarms in the right places. Now, the regulation to which we're working towards, the simplest to understand is the Building Fire Safety Domestic Smoke Alarms Legislation Amendment Regulation 2016, bit of a mouthful. But that one there outlines all of the additional requirements in terms of placement, such as bedrooms, hallways, each story, so forth. It also talks about the placement in which the alarms can be positioned. They must not be within 300 mil of a light fitting or certain measurements of corner spaces or air conditioning, or there is a list as long as the eye can see of where you can't put the alarm, which is why having a professional like us take care of the work to make sure it gets done in one fell swoop is the way to go.
Yeah, okay, all right. So you don't need to do it in preparation for January 21, but one of the things that tends to happen as this legislation comes into play is a lot of people leave it to the last minute. And what happens when people leave it to the last minute is prices hike, basically the old supply demand.
Supply and demand.
And they end up paying too much. They don't get it done in time. They leave themselves vulnerable. So you're now working with the industry and you partner with us, which is great, to give a cost-effective version for our landlords and also then time to budget in, to lead in, to make sure they're prepared. So what's the offer there? What should they do?
Look, basically get in touch with your property manager. We deal direct with the property management departments. What we're doing at the moment is running campaigns to incentivise this early adoption. You're dead right, mate. It's supply and demand. The prices will go up. We've seen it already happening. Our prices will slowly increase as well to battle that supply and demand and ensure that we have the high quality field staff that are doing the installations. We're not cutting corners on this. At the moment, we're looking to provide the best savings to you guys and the easiest solution to the real estate agent who's got to manage the nightmare.
Yeah, well it is. It's one of those things. But look, we've seen it come into play over years. Smoke alarms came in once before. Now there's a better version of them. We've seen safety switches, pool fences, all of this stuff. And this is where they try to get the legislation through. All right, so for landlords that are out there, you've still got time, okay? We've got a year and a half.
That's it.
And you need to have your property fitted. Now, this is not the place where you want to cut corners. It is when you don't have a smoke, where you have no problem with fire. But when you have fire, it's like insurance. When you need it, you want to make sure that it's the best quality. As an office that was affected, and Australia's got a long history in the last 12 months of being fire affected, you do want to make sure that you've invested in the right areas and you've got it right. Last question, how long do they last?
Mate, the smoke alarms do have a 10-year recommended life on them by any manufacturer. They're supposed to be replaced inside of that 10-year, but how long's a piece of string? Yeah. Again, like any technology, it can age in and out, and being particularly newer technology that we haven't seen installed in homes, we're not 100% sure. We're backing all the products that we install with a 10-year warranty, provided we continue the servicing on them. Again, as we know what we do to maintain them and to continue the quality and upkeep of it. So as long as we're looking after it, we'll back it for the 10 years.
Okay, so if someone does get in the next 6 months, even though they're a year before the legislation, they've got two things they can be comfortable with. One is they're giving their tenant the best protection.
Absolutely.
And then themselves the best protection. Two is that smoke alarm will likely live for another 9 or so years beyond that date, which will give you a better efficiency for your investment. All right, so if you have any questions about this, the company that we've partnered with is Detector Inspector. We've used them for a number of years. The fastest growing compliance company in the country. And there are a number of reasons in the back end, usually largely with regard to their technological efficiencies, but also the high standards in which they do their work and the price that they offer it with is why we've chosen to partner with them. So please reach out to your property manager. We do want you to have a plan on this, not leave it till the last minute, because that's why we want to get in a year and a half before it, because we do see there are some pitfalls coming. Thanks for dropping in today.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Cheers.